Welcome back, folks, to the Business Blast on Ted Mag. This episode of the show is brought to you by Satco, SATCO.com. Satco, we do the light thing, we do the right thing. What a great tagline, Greg.
That's right. Great company, someone you need to be involved with. Get him on your line. Get him in your warehouse. Get him going.
For sure. What's up, Greg?
Okay, so right now, again, I know we're talking current events, but that's kind of necessary. A lot of people are in their home office. You are at your office. Me, I'm at my office, but a lot of people are at their home office because they kind of have to be. What do you think about home officing versus actually going into an office? Do you think that's going to change going forward? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Where are you at? I want to know your opinion on this. Home office versus coming into an office. Goods and bads.
I think it depends. I think some people are quite capable of working independently. And I can think of a lot of outside sales reps that work for me that do very well just on their own. I can think some people, in the paperless office era that can do their procedural tasks every day and move forward. I think it's very difficult to build a company culture that way.
It's disconnected in a way. I mean, you can get on the phone, you can get on an app or a computer and do video conferencing, but you can't actually see the person.
Yeah, I think there's, so I set up a virtual office. So I have a Hangouts meet. It's like a Zoom call if you don't know what that is. And the people just sit in the whole thing the whole day on their computer and they talk to each other and they message one another. And the producer, Scott, sits in that virtual office. We call it all day. And in some ways it's better. In some ways there's advantages to it. In that I'm not talking about the cost of having offices. That's the other thing. And the cost of commuting and all that you have to pay. If you're an employer, you have to pay people enough to be able to get to your office every day. But I think there's also some advantages to it in that you seeing the person's face a lot and you're watching them work and they're watching you work and you can talk and not everybody's interrupted by the same thing. So people can turn off their mics or whatever and do their work. And so there is some value. There is some values to it that are better than an office. I know that, some Silicon Valley companies that really went to home office choice and stuff like that have now, before this, retracted that and we're bringing their employees back to work because of low productivity. But I don't know, man. It's a tough call. I think some people I think people that are highly productive and motivated can do it and will end up working 3 or 4 hours a day and then cutting out. I think other people will really struggle to be productive.
Yeah, I think when you're at a home office, at least for me, and what I've heard from a lot of other people, there's a lot of distractions. A lot of things that can sway your mindset from where it should be at. And I think there's still some real benefit in coming into an office. And again, this is all everybody's own personal preferences. But as a whole, as a company, I still feel like the value is there to actually be there in person in the same area is something that's necessary. Do you think going forward, more companies are going to be flexible? Are they going to allow for this more often? Or are they going to say,
I think it's going to be regulated. I think, unfortunately, the nature of our society will change in that I think some governments will force this upon certain industries and you won't have a choice. I think there's a chance of that, a significant chance that coming out of the crisis, there is a diktat of if you can work from home, you have to work from home.
That's going to affect the commercial real estate market significantly. People are going to lower their spaces or get out of leases or not buy buildings. There's a lot of things that come from that.
Initially, a lot of my employees are like, I'm not sitting with a Google Hangouts virtual office call all day. That's weird. That's an invasion of my privacy. Now they sit there. They actually like it. Some of them like it more than others. Some of them won't do it. But I think that there's not going to be a choice. I think that there's going to be certain jurisdictions that are going to enforce this and say, hey, you shouldn't travel around. You shouldn't stay safe, stay healthy. This kind of vibe will push people and organizations, whether it's from a moral perspective, our society demands that of us, or if it's a regulation or legal perspective. I think you're going to see a lot of industries and companies move to that, whether forced to or because of by choice.
As a business owner, you are, I am, you worry a little bit about security, I would think. Like you now have people in different areas and maybe all logging into the same system. Maybe you have it all set up right, but is that a concern for you?
Oh man. Hmm. You're talking about like hacking and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you have an accounting system, and if you're allowing remote access, which you might have to, or you're going to have to if everybody's at home and somebody needs to get onto it, you're going to have to allow that. We have the capability here, but it's never comforting to know that it can just go out anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. I mean, I think Zoom has proven to be a very hackable software.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't heard anything about Google Hangouts, which is my preferred one, which is the one we're on right now. Um, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's a tough one, man. I mean, this is a massive, massive change,
But
and
is it something you're concerned about though, as a business owner and having all your people virtual office? Are you concerned about security?
I don't know if I'm bringing them all back. To be honest with you, I mean, we have to see if the demand is there in the first place,
Yeah,
and then I mean, my business is 90% down right now. 90%,
that's a big chunk.
right? And I think a lot of people maybe they're not there yet, but a lot of companies are on their way towards that right now, and we need to turn that ship around. And when we turn that, I mean, I think you can decide a lot of these problems once you figure out how the revenue is going to come back in. And you're assuming that the revenue is going to come back, of course, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's crisis related, COVID related. But in general, like a home office versus virtual office, do you have concerns about? I was saying the security concerns would be about doing that. If they have the capability to come into your office or be at their home,
Bring them in.
bring them in.
Yeah, I
Where,
say bring them in.
where do you think you're going to be? And at the end of the day, you want to run as efficiently as you can. Is it more efficient to bring them in or to leave them at home?
I think there's pros and cons. I think there's trade offs both ways.
No answer.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man, because I've actually seen a lot of efficiencies from the workers we've kept in the virtual office in some ways, and I've seen some downsides to that. So I don't know the answer to that, man. What about you?
I don't either. I think that's the key that we're finding out right now is that between virtual and home office, we don't know if there is a right way or wrong way. It's a answer gray area in between. Some people it works, some it doesn't. So I don't think there's a defined answer for it. It's just more to have a discussion on where it's at.
Technology certainly
What it's
exists,
it does exist now for sure.
so you can do a pretty good virtual office, man. You can have phones forwarded and all that sort of stuff, and you can transfer calls and extensions to people, and yeah, man, it's wild times, man. But do you need that face to face, the touch, the smell, the hand cut fries? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
Tough
To
call,
be
man.
determined. To be determined.
This has been the business blast. Unfortunately, we have no answers for you, folks. You're probably in the same boat as us.
Except we do have an answer about Satco.
They do the right thing. They do the right thing. Go to satco.com. That's satco.com. Proud supporter of the business blast. Thanks for listening, folks.